Hi, this is Cheryl back with you from Farmhouse Frugally. I hope you had a great Christmas. Today I'm doing 3 trash to treasures, pretty spring-like. The first one is a cheap made in China clock my husband found on the good table at the dump. Being a clock repairman, we have clocks everywhere in this house, so we certainly didn't need a clock, but he thought I might like to do something with it. And so we took off the front with the battery mechanism and the dial. And then I thought about it for a couple of weeks because I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it because of those little beadboard primitive country or country looking lines in it, just not my thing. So I finally decided one day, you know what, I am going to take out the spackling, the wall joint compound, whatever you call it, we call it mud, and I'm just going to fill that in and see how it comes out. You know, we do this to the wall all the time. It's not going to be perfect, I know that. That's just not my forte, but it'll definitely get rid of that real country look and give me just a cleaner canvas, so to speak, to work with. So this takes a couple of hours to dry. I may have left it overnight even. When it does dry, it is very rough. And so the front of this needed to be sanded, which was very simple. I just took like a 220 sanding block over my trash and made that smooth. I did not make it perfectly smooth. I left some of the little imperfections in it to make it look just a little more vintage, which is the look that I prefer. And then once that was sanded and dry, I did just clean that with a nice little damp cloth just to get all the dust off. And then mixed up a custom paint color with the wall color in my bedroom, which is some kind of a mocha, mixed with the white chalk paint. And it is a flat, which I also prefer. It doesn't have a sheen to it. And then just gave this 2 good coats of this paint. Unfortunately, this paint had little tiny flecks in it because the wall paint was kind of older. So if I use this again, I'm going to have to do the baking soda method just so I don't have to throw this whole jar of it away because it did leave some little lumps and bumps here and there. But again, I wasn't looking for perfection. You could certainly sand that off if it happens. I did the inside walls. I did the back. And, you know, basically everywhere except for the inside back wall because I wanted to do something different with that. And then once those 2 coats were completely dry, which didn't take long at all, I was very surprised given that this was a latex paint. I pulled out this wallpaper that I have that I had picked up for free and just cut out a small piece for the back, trying to match up the circle with the circle, and put the shelf back in. Now, I already like it so much better than it was before, but I needed to seal that paint in, so I'm using just a clear wax with a wax brush and just giving that one nice coat all over, and then just waiting a few minutes and taking a rag and then just wiping back the wax so that it will protect the paint that's there. There had been a couple chips on it and things that needed just a little bit of protection, and gives it a nice smooth finish, especially the part that had the mud underneath. And then I filled it with a little bird's nest, a couple little greens, and some eggs just to get that spring feel. But honestly, you could do a winter scene in it. You could do pumpkins in the fall. It's really versatile. So I think it came out adorable. I could certainly add an antiquing wax at some point if I want to make it even more vintage. But here it is, and you will have to let me know what you think of that and what you would put inside of this. The second one really isn't a makeover. I have these cute little ducks that I had to clean up really well, and I wanted to put white wax on them to protect their paint. Sometimes I put things like this outside on my deck with my herbs on a little ladder that I have for display, or, you know, they might be in the elements. They could go out in the garden, but they are really kind of in need of some protection. So I just scrubbed them real good, let them dry, took out the white wax, and they have a lot of texture, so I thought that white wax might pick up some of the texture once I wiped those back. I did wipe these back right away. I probably could have waited just a little bit longer and more of the white would have stayed. But at the end of the day, they are protected, which was really my number one reason for doing this. And once those were dry, I put them in my master bedroom where it is perpetually spring. I never change my bedroom out for the seasons because I absolutely love the blue and the white and the mocha color on the wall together. I just really love the little spring touches that I have in there. I have bunnies and birds and now ducks, and the little fairies that I had done probably 6 months ago now. Try to put those right here, the glass and the fairies. I'll try to link that in the description box if you're interested in that. But I think they came out adorable, and that is now protected in case I decide to put them on my deck. And that takes me on to number 3, which is my favorite. My husband had also picked up this small gold frame at the dump on the good table, and I decided that I wouldn't mind a little bit of gold poking through, but generally I wanted it to be white to also go in my bedroom. And I have a picture frame that I had done last year with a watercolor in it that I was sort of trying to make this go with to give me a new feel in the bedroom on the walls, something just a little bit more grown up. So I'm hoping to do like a whole wall of different watercolors, or the feel of watercolor, with a lot of this blue and white in it. Now this is Annie Sloan pure white chalk paint, and I am giving this 2 coats of this, and then once it is completely dry, I am just going to take the baby wipe and I am going to wet distress, because on this frame there's quite a bit of the knob detail there, and hobnail, I think they call it, with the little dots. So I'm just going ahead with the diaper wipe and just wet distressing back some of that here and there, and then occasionally, especially where the paint didn't, this is a great tip for if you want to distress something, if there's a little bit of paint that didn't quite cover, or if you dropped a little extra paint on there and you missed it when it dried, this is great for the wet distress technique. You can just wipe back that one area back to the original frame, and voila, you have what you need for wet distressing. Once I got that the way that I liked it, I pulled out the other frame just to kind of get a feel for how they would look together. And you can see that lovely shot of that watercolor. And then I went on to the internet to see what I could find for some free or very inexpensive watercolor landscapes or oceanscapes. Added those little metal brads to hold in the whole glass and such, fixed the orientation of the hanger, and here's what my wall did look like beforehand. And so far, this is what I have up there. I'm sure I will be arranging and rearranging. Here's the original inspiration, and here is the new one. Sorry for the glare from the chandelier, but try to get you a feel for what that looks like now. So let me know what you think. I love them. Thanks for stopping by. Please hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.